Welcome to Dude Rakes. Each week, we'll do a deep dive into Clemson baseball with special guests knowledgeable about Clemson and/or college baseball. It's a casual, laid-back, but fast-paced 15 to 20-minute show. With that, let's get started.
Look at there, Casey, the beef Cregan. In your honor, buddy. In your honor. I am at Sluggo tonight. I am the actual at Sluggo. I told you before we went live, I haven't put this shirt on in a few years since Sluggo went off the airwaves or the internet waves. But, man, it is good to see you. I know you've been busy because I typed out your biography and I put 3 things down there that you're doing. That didn't even count being a husband and a dad and whatever else you got going on the side. So what has been happening, Beef?
If I was sitting still, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I think if I'm umpiring high school baseball now too. So like you keep adding stuff to my plate. It makes getting home at night and hugging the wife and kid and petting the dog a little bit better. So just living the dream, Marty. Great to be back with you. Always a pleasure. I'm glad we've stayed in touch over the years. And this is great. I love the fact that you're doing this. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. No one better. No one cares about Clemson baseball more than the Beef. And I also know, you care about college baseball as a whole. And I like to make this about a little more than just Clemson because we got people that follow and like our stuff that are more than Clemson baseball fans. But as you know, I went to Arlington last week with the kiddo. Clemson wasn't there this year, but that's okay. Some really, really good teams were there. Arkansas, TCU, Oklahoma State, Vanderbilt, and Texas Tech. Now, last year there was two World Series teams there. There was Louisville and Arizona. There was also Clemson, Ole Miss, Texas, and Oklahoma State also. Clemson played them in the first game. For whatever reason, even with Clemson there, and I don't mean this to be negative toward Clemson, just kind of in general, there was more juice to it this year. And I think a lot of that had to do with Arkansas fans. As you know from my Twitter, they were loud, proud, and around all weekend. When they played Texas Tech on Saturday night, 23,000 plus were in the stands in Arlington. But they were there every game, loud, every game, in the hotel, every game. And I was telling you pre-show, they were around everywhere, hotels, restaurants, everybody, every single one of them had a beer in their hand. Not one incident the whole week. I didn't see one disagreement or fight or kerfuffle or anything. It was crazy, and it was a great atmosphere. It's unbelievable. Now, I know Arkansas is relatively close to Dallas, and I know Jerry Jones went to Arkansas, and, of course, his stadium's right across the way there. But Texas Tech didn't have very many people there at all. Vanderbilt had next to zero. I'm trying to think who had more fans.
No Whistler in the stands?
No Whistler, or at least I didn't hear the Whistler. Trying to think. Oklahoma, no. It was really Texas Tech, a little bit of TCU, and Arkansas. I think they did a great job with this group of teams. This is like the old Big Eight, except for Vanderbilt, really. But close to the area, for the most part. I know Texas Tech is still 318 miles away, but it was still close to the area. Arkansas, can travel. TCU's right there in Fort Worth. Oklahoma State, not a long ways away. But I think they did a great job with this tournament. I know Clemson's going to be back there next year. I don't know who else is going to be there, but we shall see how that works out next year. I think we lost Casey, but I will keep on talking. Arlington was a tremendous amount of fun, and highly recommend if you have a chance, go there next year. I'm going next year to see Clemson play. Don't know who I was saying. I don't know who they're playing next year, but I'll be there. Just a tremendous amount of fun. You get to see high-level college baseball in a major league stadium. that's not jam-packed with people. Me and my son find a half-moon table in center field, sit there and enjoy everything. Enjoy 3 games a 3 games a day of college baseball. It's reasonably priced, lots and lots of fun. Looks like we lost Casey again. We're having a hard time with the beef. He's trying to do this from a car at soccer practice, not working out too well. So let's see if we can get the beef back here. But we'll go ahead and start talking. Clemson is 4-0. They outscored Army West Point by a score of 31-3, and they take on Bryant this weekend at DKS, Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Bryant is the Bulldogs. They are 2-1. They have played at Davidson. All 3 games were close. But here's the weird thing. They played 3 games and none of them went 9 innings. I think one went 7, one went 8, and one went 10. So 3 games, none of them went 9 innings. Beef, are you okay there in the car?
You know, it's funny, Marty. My wife texted me and it blew up the whole situation. So I thought I had it going good. I got my 2 phones going. I heard you talking about the end of the Arlington series, and so sorry about that.
No worries. It was a lot of fun. I would recommend, if you're a Clemson fan and a baseball fan, to show up next year. I don't know who they're playing, but high-level college baseball in a major league park without the major league crowd and all that entails.
Yeah, it's awesome. And there are certain teams out there, right, like in Arkansas, like in Mississippi State, that Tennessee probably. I'm going to miss a ton of teams, and I apologize to those fans. Louisville even is one that will travel, and will travel well, and will make their presence felt. So it was cool to see the Arkansas crowd. It's cool to see college baseball getting a crowd like that, because I know last year when you went, you kind of had the whole outfield to yourself. This time you had to maybe rub elbows with some Arkansas people, which is kind of cool to see the game growing and the audience getting big too.
Yeah, it was a lot more crowd this year. Even the games that didn't involve Arkansas, because they were hanging around, they either played before or they played after. So it was a lot more crowded, but still Major League Stadium. There's plenty of room for everybody there. Hey, Beef, the Tigers are 4-0. Took three, swept Army West Point, and then beat Charlotte on Tuesday. I mean, I don't know how much you can take away from that. They only gave up, 2 runs to Army and the 1 to Charlotte. The pitching's been really good. The hitting's been pretty good. First 4 games, what's your thoughts?
I'm really pleased, because all you can do is win, right? So we can nitpick. We can say the bats aren't hot quite yet, obviously, outside of Nate Savoy. The pitching looks fantastic, and you didn't get a great start from Aiden Canuck, or what we're used to. If you get that type of outing from Aiden Canuck all season long, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, but he's battling, you should still win those games, because if he's going to give up 2-3 runs, you should still be able to score more of it. I think the bats, once it gets warmer, will heat up. I know Ty Daly didn't have the great first week, I guess, in his standards, because he hit over 300 last year, or maybe at 300 last year at Mercer, and hit a ton of home runs. The nation's.
We lost Beef again. Are you there, Beef?
Did that happen again?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Well, if you can hear me, that's fine. No one wants to look at me anyway. But no, but I just think if the weather, once the weather gets warm and the bats hopefully stay hot, it's been really, really promising. Again, you can only win so many games. So they played 4 games, they've won 4 games. Are we going to go undefeated? No, but it's nice to start. As good as the pitching's looked, you look around the ACC and you see teams. I mean, there's one that jumps right out of me is Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech put up 25 in a midweek against a good Georgia Southern team. That's no slouch. Obviously, a half step down from Georgia Tech, but you see them putting up 25. This pitching staff of Clemson's really got to step up, especially when you talked about it with JP last week. We're going to see Miami. We're going to see Georgia Tech. We're going to see all these high-level ACC teams, and hopefully get some at home. But it's going to be a tough haul. So it's a great start. You can't do much better. I mean, they've hit 7 home runs. I think it took us 7 games last year to hit 7 home runs. So 7 home. They're getting some power, and the power pitching that Bakich talked about at season's end last year,
Yep.
with the press conference after the game when he was completely dejected. He said he needs a power pitcher and needs some power at the plate. Well, he went out and got Ty Daly, the nation's leader in home runs. He got Nate Savoy. He got a stopgap at shortstop. Maybe you hope you get what you get offensively from Lichtenberger, and Jacob Jarrell has come up clutch. His batting average isn't, and I know you're more the analytics guy, the more deeper dive, so he's probably hitting better than I think he's hitting. But I mean, is there anyone you want up in the clutch situation right now more than JJ? I'm not sure there is in the Clemson lineup. Heck, Tristan McClatty was supposed to be a stopgap, right, for the freshman.
Right.
And how are you going to take him out of the lineup? It's
like
been all positives.
It's almost like you read my list of things to talk about here, because I want to talk about several of those things you mentioned. The first one being Aiden Canuck. I think last year he had some games similar to the opener this year. And Bakich alluded to the fact that maybe he was recovering from the flu and wasn't at full strength. He said similar things last year, not about the flu, but there you are, your face is back. But he said, we're not worried about Aiden Canuck. He's going to be fine. He's the best pitcher we have, et cetera. And I just wonder, it just makes me, I'm like, he said that last year too. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. He's still really good, like you said. I mean, 6 strikeouts and 2 walks and 2 runs, and we're like, oh my God, he was terrible. Well, he wasn't. He wasn't, but he wasn't what we're used to. And now we're, like I said, we're stretching into another year. I'm just like, I wonder if everything's okay. And maybe it's me being an Astro fan and everybody's arm falling off, 3 games into the season. But I'm wondering if he's okay. I didn't notice anything unusual about the velo. So perhaps everything's okay and he's recovering from the flu, and we'll see something different tomorrow.
And he also didn't pitch in the fall, right? So he took the ball last Friday, and that was pretty much the first time that.
And we lost him altogether. Casey's having some problems. Casey is having some problems. He'll have to reconnect. The other thing Casey mentioned that I wanted to bring up was Ty Daly struggling a little bit. He's 2 for 17. Not really worried about Daly. He's proved himself over 3 seasons. Just hasn't gotten off to a good start. He did have a sacrifice fly on Tuesday against Charlotte. So I think he will be okay. As Casey mentioned, McClatty is raking. Jacob Jarrell has come up clutch with big home runs, or at least the first home run, the 2-run homer to tie the game, and the grand slam in the first inning Tuesday to make it 5-0 was pretty big also. Daly's not hitting, and Jason Foltz, the young freshman third baseman that was supposed to be a major factor this year, is also 1 for 8. I was talking about Jason Foltz here, in case. He's 1 for 8. He hadn't really got a lot of chances because, as you said, McClatty won't let him in the lineup the way he's hitting, the way he's tearing the cover off the ball. He's also got a couple of home runs. Good problem to have, but I was looking forward to seeing Jason Foltz. But as long as McClatty's doing his thing, and of course, McClatty can play anywhere, right? First, second, center, right, third. I don't know if there's anywhere the guy can't play. But Jason Foltz is 1 for 8, and Ty Daly is 2 for 17.
Yeah, the 2 for 17 is a little concerning, but again, we're only 4 games in. So, but you're right. How do you take him out? How do you take him out of the lineup? And I think that's a Leggett guy. The McClatty is in the Leggett mold where he can literally play anywhere. Leggett loved that stuff and loved guys like that. So it's funny. Every time he gets out on the field, I'm like, how do you take him out? And then he's hitting the way he's hitting. It's just crazy. I want to not like the kid, but I genuinely do, because he just does everything that you need him to do. And does
Yes,
it well. Yeah.
and hits the
So,
ball too. I mean, you go up there and you kind of wonder, this guy really doesn't look like a good college hitter that you would picture, and he hits. That's whatever. Maybe a Cooper Ingle type guy, right? Doesn't look like
absolutely.
your prototypical 350 hitter and ends up hitting 350. So, all right, Casey Bryant. Now I know you know about Bryant because we had a message conversation, and you used to date someone who went to Bryant. So you asked me if I knew where Bryant was, and since you used to date them and you went to Clemson, I assumed Bryant was somewhere in the general New Jersey area. That's how I deduced it was somewhere near New Jersey, knowing you're from New Jersey. Tell us what you know about the Bryant Bulldogs.
Dude, I'm having it's just like Sluggo all over again. I'm having all this technical issues. So Bryant College, or it used to be Bryant College, Bryant University is out of Smithfield, Rhode Island, a small liberal arts college. This team went to Davidson last week, and I believe Davidson was an NCAA tournament team last year and took 2 out of 3. And that's kind of unheard of from a team from the Northeast, especially Rhode Island, when they got dumped on about 18 inches of snow the last 2 weeks. And they took 2 out of 3 from and I didn't deep dive into Davidson, but I'm guessing that a relatively decent Davidson team. So this team's coming in. I went in when I saw that initially. I said, all right, this team's got to be having some sticks or some pitching. I didn't see much of that, to be honest with you. They have a kid, Casey Wensley. He's a senior catcher, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry. He's a senior first baseman. He had kind of a Nate Savoy week, went 7 of 11. His OPS is about 1.5. A home run, 5 RBIs. Then they have another kid, a Jersey kid, Marty, of course,
Of
Charlie
course.
Saul. He hit 2 home runs last week and 14 at bats and has 7 RBIs. And then I flipped the page literally to the pitching side, and they're using the same 3 starters they used last week. Caden Hillberger will go on Friday night. He went 3 innings. You'll find a theme here. None of their starters went above 3 and a 2/3 innings. Hillberger had the best stuff last week, according to the stats. He had 6 strikeouts, only 1 walk, no runs, and he did not give up a hit in those 3 innings of work. Saturday they got Dylan Scudder, another right-hander. They got 2 right-handers at the top of the rotation. He had 3 2/3. He got roughed up a little bit, gave up 5 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. But opponents only hitting .214 against him. He's got a 12.27 ERA in the first week. And then Sunday they'll go with Jackson Vanesco. He's a lefty, a little lefty. He was 2 and a 1/3 last week, got 3 runs on 6 hits, 2 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .462 against him. So obviously it looks, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, he's probably a little bit of what we call a poo slinger, where lefty probably comes from different slots, probably 80, 83, 84, 85, coming out of different slots, and everything moves. So he's at an 11.57 ERA. Ryan Klosterman is their head coach. Any diehard Clemson fans around the 2003 time frame, 2000 to 2003, maybe recognize that name. He was a highly, highly rated recruit out of the state of Florida, and he came in to play shortstop for Clemson, except there was a guy named Jeff Baker actually in his way playing shortstop for Clemson. So you thought, oh, all right, maybe he'll play third. No, there was a kid named Khalil Green playing third for Clemson. Jack Leggett got smart and actually flipped the 2, Green and Jeff Baker, and the rest, as they say, is history. Klosterman went on to play at Vanderbilt, followed Tim Corbin when Tim Corbin left to go to Vanderbilt. And there was an article that I found that said he was the best shortstop the SEC has ever seen, which I thought was funny because Khalil Green, he couldn't beat out Khalil Green. So does that mean Khalil was a little better in the SEC? But exciting to have one of our own. He only played 17 games for Clemson in kind of mop-up duty, but one of our own coming home. It's kind of neat to see that Leggett, Corbin, O'Sullivan kind of tree, make it coming home to Clemson. So I do think they should win all 3 games, though.
I mentioned, I think one of the times you cut out, I mentioned that the weird thing about the Davidson series that I saw is they played 3 games and none of them went 9 innings. It was a 7-inning game, an 8-inning game, and a 10-inning game. So
And they had that doubleheader, on Saturday.
Just kind of weird. Just kind of weird. It's the first meeting, right, between Bryant Bulldogs
Ever. Yes.
and Clemson Tigers. Now, where exactly is Bryant? I don't think he ever said.
Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Okay. All right.
Rhode Island's small, so it's, just show the map and just point, and you're probably close.
Yes, I've been to actually Rhode Island. Not much more than the airport and the interstate to go to Massachusetts to get on another plane, but I've actually been to Rhode Island. Let's see, what else did we have here? This will end. Brian played Davidson, as you said, in North Carolina last week. They played Clemson this week, and then that's it for their Southern swing, at least early in the season. I didn't follow through in the whole season, but I'm assuming sometime shortly, a couple more weeks, they'll be in a conference play, and I think their conference is probably up there in the Northeast somewhere. If I had to guess. Hey, Casey, one question I asked you, and I don't know if you know this. I haven't checked social media in the last couple of hours. Has Clemson announced a rotation for this series?
They have. So it is the same 3 that we saw last week. So it is Aiden Canuck and Michael Sharman and Talon Bell going 1, 2, 3. So the same 3. I anticipate we're going to see the same arms behind the guys. I don't know if you're going to see these guys go much further. I hope to see Talon Bell go more than 2 innings.
Yes.
But that's got to be must have been a reason, because he wasn't bad in those 2 innings. So I don't know if he just wanted Legurnick to come in after him, and Legurnick was so good that he just kept him in for 5. I'm not sure what Bakich is doing, but I'm not questioning him by any stretch. It was just interesting to see those other guys, especially Sharman, pitching as well as he did, going 6 innings. So obviously he stretched out a little bit, but maybe Bell coming off that injury in the offseason, maybe they're kind of holding him a little bit.
He kind of intimated that in the preseason. Bakich did, but 2 innings. You're right. It seems a little short. Maybe another inning, but I guess it all depends on the pitches and the stress and all those things that we're not necessarily privy to. Was there any update on Drew Titsworth?
I hadn't heard. I hadn't seen anything. I hadn't heard. Today was. I don't know. I think it's one of those things. If you keep getting these outings, let's make sure that these kids are healthy, fully healthy when they come back. I mean, if you're going to keep, obviously you're just adding to the depth. He talked about depth last year, that he needed depth in this rotation. And from the first 4 games, it seems like he's got it. He's thrown 4 guys out a game, 3, 4 guys out a game, and they're all performing. It's been really refreshing. So, yeah, I mean, you got Titsworth that maybe you hold him until he's completely ready. Dane Moeller is another one that we were so high on him last year, and obviously he had Tommy John, I believe, and so he should be ready to go relatively soon. McGovern's another one. Hopefully we see him this weekend. I don't know if they're gonna, but again, like, if you don't need to push them, don't push them.
Yeah, you don't want to push them. There's a fine line there. Do you want them to debut against South Carolina? Though, this could come back to bite me, but it's not the South Carolina we would typically think of, right? Or at least it hasn't been for the last year and a half or so.
They can still hit. They can still rake. Don't.
So, do you want him to get an inning in, maybe in relief or something? I don't know, but yes. The big picture, you're correct. Get him healthy.
If you get those back end 2 guys, those Saturday, Sunday guys, could you imagine throwing Canuck for 5 and throwing Titsworth for 4? I mean, like that, and obviously that probably wouldn't happen, but that'd be one hell of a little tandem.
Absolutely, and the guys Tuesday. I mentioned this today in the article I posted on X. The guys Tuesday. Dvorsky 3 strikes, but the other guys were, hit or miss, and they were getting a lot of praise. And Charlotte, true, they scored 1 run, and that's really the, it's the scoreboard, right? That's how you win and lose games. But there weren't as many strikes as there were on Friday and Saturday because of the doubleheader. There weren't as many strikes, but you kind of expect that because now you're looking at guys 8, 9, and 10 maybe in the pecking order of the pitching staff. And it's their first outing, and most of them were freshmen. I think they did okay. But if he's talking about, JP and I kind of laughed about this last week. He's talking about 18 to 20 pitchers depth. I'm still going to hold back on that until I see it. But it was an excellent start. I will say that. Just the start of the season. Can't ask, as you said when we started this, you can't ask for much more.
No, and if if he's 18-20, we saw last year at that Kentucky game, that last game that we got, Clemson got completely blown out. He ran out of arms. So if he's got 18-20, God bless him, because he'll have 6 more remaining to go for that game that hopefully you don't see it until Omaha, but that elimination game where he just completely ran out of arms, and poor Talon Bell was there to take the brunt of it.
Well, think about what we saw over the weekend, and as you just talked about, and then what we saw Tuesday, which was pretty good. And then we know we haven't seen Titsworth, we haven't seen McGovern, we haven't seen Moeller. So, we're starting to hit 13 or so right now already. So it's possible.
Yeah, it's promising. And again, that other piece that Jack Leggett, when he was interviewed the other day, got to stay healthy. That's another piece that lingers over. Right now, we're healthy for the most part. You can't be losing 2 or 3 of these arms and hoping to have the same results.
It's a long season. You say the same thing on the other end about the batters. He talked about having 12 at bats that he felt comfortable with. Of course, that immediately was down to 11 with the injury to Colin Priest, and he's used, I believe, 9 or 10. I want to say 10 players, and one of them hasn't batted. So 9 bats or 10 bats is all that he's used all season. I mean, it's only been 4 games, but a little short there on the bats, if you ask me, because there's especially with the injury to Priest, I'd feel better if he was healthy and playing. Obviously, he hit 12 home runs last year. So
absolutely.
Well, Casey, I am going to let you go. I know your son will be done with soccer practice shortly. I appreciate you joining with your busy schedule, as we talked about prior, and joining from the car. We had some issues, but we always do, right? We just work.
It's just like Norm. We had no issues pre-show when we were talking, and here we are. So thank you, buddy. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you. We want to have you back on, maybe from your house one time, so we can get. And JP last week said he wanted all 3 of us to get together and talk Clemson baseball one time. So we'll plan
whenever you need me, sir. Whenever you need me, I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Beef. Have a good evening.
You too.
Casey the Beef Cregan, thanks so much for joining me tonight to talk Clemson baseball. Some tough technical issues, but we worked through it. It was a good time, as always, with Casey, reliving our days with the Sluggo podcast. I think we did 134 episodes together. Fantastic time. Casey's a great dude. Message Board Genius podcast, SEC Sunday Night, and Clemson Sports Media. Check him out. He'll do a preview on the series that'll come out tomorrow morning. Thanks to the Beef. Everybody else, let's go Tigers over the weekend, playing 3 against Bryant if the weather holds up. I'll talk to you guys next week, and be sure to check out the articles on X under seldom used reserved name. Thanks, and then we'll talk to you next week.